So let me just share window or entire screen, not this one, that one. Yeah, sure. I don't know. Not really needed. Sound is not really needed in this instance, but okay, let's go. So first things first, this is what I sent to Claude. I don't bother boggling my mind too much when I'm doing this first step when it comes to different ideas and stuff that I'm working on. With this one, I said working on an app, working on an open source introductory rule-based game engine to help kids start to understand if-else statements. But I am also trying, that's one, but I'm also trying to see how I can connect it to allow them to also create simple applications using those rules. I would be interested to see if there is a way to connect or incorporate some 3D features to the game engine, maybe a way to connect it to existing game engines that are free. All right, then it gave me some feedback, expanding rules-based system, app actions, incorporating 3D features. So then it gave me options. Option A was web-based, easiest to integrate. I thought about this one and I was tempted, right? Because most of the stuff that I'm creating at the moment are web-based applications, at least initially, right? And I'm a bit more familiar with it, and I might know how to mess around with it a bit more. So if your engine uses HTML5, JavaScript, under the hood, you can embed light 3D primitives, cubes, spheres, whatever, using web rendering libraries. 3G went on to cover that detail, right? And I was like, okay, cool. I was almost certain. I was like, I'm definitely going with this one. But then I was like, let's see what the other option is. And then option B was connecting to existing open source game engines. I was like, that's a little interesting because that kind of connects to my idea. Because the problem with the web-based one is if I want to create a first, what do you call that? Like Call of Duty, Fortnite, those kind of games. I forgot what they're called. But first-person shooter games, if I wanted to create those kind of games, I might bump into a bigger challenge with just the web-based rule system, right? And then with this one, I was like, okay, cool. This allows me a little bit more flexibility in terms of the amount of things that I can do. So then I had a look at it. It says if your engine uses, no, that's A. Instead of reinventing the wheel, you can output or bridge your rule-based engine to established open source projects. Right, so there was Godot, there was G Developer, there was Babylon. Initially, I was thinking it might mention like Unity, Unreal Engine or something, right? I have heard about Godot Engine, and I was happy to see it because I had been watching this gentleman. Oh man, I don't have any of it open here. I think it's Most something. I don't know. These videos are live videos that I record. This one's gonna be about 30 minutes long, so I won't really do any editing into it. I don't have time for that. So I'm just gonna try, and if I remember his name while I'm doing this, then great. If I do happen to search for it and find it, then great. I'll show you guys the channel. But anyways, I was watching some of his progress, and it looked really interesting. Now they were doing a lot of hand drawings and all those other things. There's a tangent that I will go on some other time regarding why I've made the decisions I've made in terms of my art style and all those other things. But I can't draw, essentially. I'm not really good at drawing. I used to be decent. Now I'm just less than decent. Anyways, so it goes on to explain like the different game engines. There's Godot, there's G Developer, there's Babylon.js. And immediately I was gravitating towards Godot because I'd seen what it can do. And over here, extremely lightweight, top tier 2D and 3D engine. I didn't bother reading this last thing over here. I won't even lie to anyone. And then so I was trying to get a quick snapshot because when you vibe coding some of these things, at least for me, I do want to do deep research, but you don't want to ever do deep research too early if you can acknowledge the fact that you don't know what you do not know. In which case, I don't know enough about this for me to be able to waste time doing deep research on each of these and then trying to make a good decision. Because I think the one thing I've learned about vibe coding and like just creating things in a category or an industry or a field that you are not familiar with, one of the things that I've recognized with that is the best thing to do is fix things rather than make things. Obviously, there is a balance that you have to hit, that you have to reach, where it's like you're not just spending too much time just fixing things. You want to be knowledgeable enough to make a good decision. Hence, I'm reading quite a couple of these things, but I'm not reading all of it. So I want to know enough that I don't make a horrible decision. But I'm not trying to know so much that I think I'm making an excellent decision, right? And I know with this direction that I'm taking, most of the results and the positive results and the outcomes that I'm going for are going to be achieved through me fixing things rather than just having hit it perfectly the first time, right? So anyways, so I read this and this, free and open source. I understand that. G developer open source, I understand that, already uses an event system almost identical to Fusion 2.5. This is ClickTime Fusion, an application that I used when I was in primary school to make games. I think I had a free trial that my dad brought for me on a DVD, and it was great. And it was one of the couple things that helped me start to understand how to think critically when it comes to systems and computers. I don't know. I felt like it gave me a nuanced perspective on technology that other people didn't share or didn't seem to share or that I couldn't perceive to share. But anyways, moving on. Babylon.js, Apache 2.0, powerful browser native 3D engine built for web apps and games. Now, I had no idea what this was, so I didn't bother with it. Honestly, I just kicked it off. Um, G develop. The reason actually I didn't choose this is now supports 3D, right? Identical to Fusion 2.5, now supports 3D. It didn't seem like it was the main functionality and feature of it. And again, I wasn't too familiar with it. And honestly, I was biased. I was biased with this choice that I made. I'd seen what Godot could do, and I was like, I want that. I want that. I want that. So what I ended up doing, just give me what I ended up doing was going with Godot, right? I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go with Godot. I had a look at this thing just briefly as well. Let me just do most. No man, master game. I had a quick brief look at this. There we go. Muskbone is the person. This is the channel. I'm gonna show you guys. This is the channel, and I saw what they were doing with Godot, and I was just like, I have to get into that. This is insane. This is some sick stuff. Like I want to make like this. Got my creative juices flowing, and I was like, okay, cool. I want to do something. I want to do something like this. I want to, yeah. Anyways, so needless to say, I decided to go with Godot because I was kind of familiar with what it could do. And I said, I like the Godot engine direction. Give me this, but with only Godot instead of the other two options, include more information. So at this point, what I was trying to do is I was trying to get this whole explanation that it gave me, but without these two options and maybe just prioritizing Godot engine and then giving me more information. But as is typical with AI, that's not what happened. It didn't go that well. It ended up just focusing on Godot alone. So it says why Godot is ideal for kids rule-based system. I don't like this kids thing. I mean, yes, it is mainly for kids. I'm thinking about, but anyone who's actually trying to get into starting web development, I don't want your restriction to not being able to create and be creative be the fact that you do not have a specific skill, especially if there's a way to overcome that challenge, right? Not to say you won't bump into other challenges along the journey, but at least let that not be the, because ClickTeam Fusion allowed me to start making games before I could be a web developer, and those game and start to understand the systems and stuff. It allowed me to be creative before I was granted the privilege of the knowledge, right? So I still kind of don't have most of that knowledge, but before I had the capacity even to be capable to output that level of games and stuff, especially with the resources that I had at the time. Anyways, so why get dirt? So it explained why get dirt. I didn't read most of this. I did land here, your kids front end, simple UI for placing da 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 da. And at this point, I was thinking, okay, like I could just what do you call this? I could design the UI and UX, right? Like I'm a little bit more familiar with that. And after reading all of this, like how it's gonna work, and it looks like my game engine is going to like kind of simplify the complexities of Godot. So what happens is my thing, it's going to be just front end. So you say, I want this thing to do this, right? So you put the two rules in understandable language, where it's like, if A touches B, then B should do this, right? And then it goes over to Godot, and then Godot then translates all of that into whatever language or whatever it needs to be in order to make those things possible. So essentially, my thing has triggers, and those triggers have functions, and those functions have certain outputs, and the functions are defined or determined by Godot. If this makes does this make sense? I hope it does. I'm running out of time, so I can't even spend too much time explaining it. But yeah, so then I decided to go to Godot. I decided to go to Godot, and what I was presented with was a choice. There. So when I went on here, I saw Godot. I was like, okay, cool, download the latest. And then it gave me these questions, right? I saw C .NET. I was like, okay, I have no idea which choice to make here. So then I decided to ask, do I need Godot with C? Da, 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 and then explain why I didn't. And yeah, the benefits of this, it's lightweight. Anyone can just install it anywhere without the complexity of being able to do certain things. And again, since I'm doing this for newbies and beginners, they might not be too comfortable messing around with this, with the requirements of this one, right? So downloading this one should be fine enough. And so I quickly read through that, and then I said, okay, so I've installed it. I've installed Godot, and I have Godot terminal as well. I believe that's what it is. Oh yeah, no, I was saying this. I wasn't typing it. So I realized I said terminal. I was like, no, it's console. So it's Godot version whatever, Windows 64, and also have Windows 64 console. And then say, that's great, we've successfully, and then explain why I need console. Console is executable, is useful for your project since you're building an open source, debugging and all these things. Again, didn't spend too much time reading it, but I did read it. I did read some of it. Not all of it, but some of it. And then I typed simple JavaScript to read. Where do I put the script? I typed a simple GD script to read. Oh yeah, that was when I was in Godot. And then it told me, okay, create a scene, do this, do that, do that. So what I did was I then moved on and I asked, okay, look, I want to create a draft. I need you to list everything that my game engine software needs in order to work well in tandem with Godot engine. So you can read this if you want. So I typed this, it gave me this, and what my thoughts were is, okay, cool, I want to take this and then start making the engine. So I copied it, and then I moved it over to Claude. I just realized something. I don't have Claude in here. Okay, most of it was not even there. Okay, cool. So then I wanted something that I could move over to Claude. So if you'll see here in God, I created the folder. I call it IGNOX. Kind of like set ablaze the night is the meaning of that. So I said, okay, there. IGNOX is a game engine that mainly connects to Godot. It's built to help people understand programming. By helping them make games and animations via rules, whatever. So I kind of explained my vision. And I pasted that whole thing under that, right? And then it went to work. I was using Opus 5 Ultra Code. No, I was using High, and then I switched to Ultra Code because I thought it would be faster, but it was just thinking harder. And so, okay, and so it created the thing, right? So I tried to MP. No, before this, here. I tried to np run dev. I ran into an error. I copied that error. I pasted it here. I kind of understood np and run dev and all those functions because, again, like I said, web development and stuff in general is something I'm a little bit more familiar with, and application development, I guess, right? Because I do have an app that, as you can tell, I do have an app that I'm working on. So then I copied that error. It gave me, try to fix it, whatever. And then I ended up with this over here, right? So this is what I have. And again, I don't really understand the full functionalities of this. I think it'll become more fun and stuff when I start like kind of checking certain things, trying to add certain features, start working on the user interface and user experience. But for now, the way my game engine works is I select a player, it adds it here. I can create something else like a colored box, adds it here. Let's create more. It's another one. And then I can kind of do this over here. I can move them around quite easily. I can do another colored box, maybe do this colored box. I can change the scaling and sizing here, right? Yeah, things like that. And here's my player, right? So there are 3 stages. There's stage, there's rules, and there's code, right? So with the stage, that's obviously what you're seeing over here. And then there's rules. Rules, for example, in this instance, I want, if a key is pressed, I'm going to say D, right? If D is pressed, I want not to print, not to wait, but I want the player to move player. I want him to move on the x-axis by 1. I don't even know how extreme or I don't know how big or small the movement is, right? So I want him to move by 1. And then that's it. And then I'm going to click run. So it's running, should run. Okay, so it looks like it's not running. We might have a problem. So I think that's the rule is a non-trigger on key tapped. Wait. On key tapped D, move player. Move player. This rule uses an unknown trigger. Okay, let's go with key is held down. Right. Let's see if this will work. I have to obviously look. You see, okay, now that's working, but I need to see why, if a key is tapped, it's not working. But here we have a player, right? So I'm going to click on D, and look at that. You see that? I click D, and it jumped here. It's not working properly. So that was the issue that I bumped into, and that is what it is currently trying to fix. Okay, so it looks like it might be done fixing it. So I pointed out that I created a rule that when a key is held down, D, move player X0, Y1, right? However, when I click run and I clicked D, the player jumped to another location on the canvas. Let's look into this. Also take some inspiration from Click Team Fusion, because again, that's the application that I used when I was younger, and I quite enjoyed it. So let's have a look. I ranked the rest, then verified. Okay, so now I'm wondering, okay, okay, so like I'm gonna close this, and then I think npm, okay, I'm gonna run npm run dev again, right? So what I'm gonna do essentially is, let me just show you guys. I would ideally not want to show you guys things that I don't want to show you guys, so I'm just finding that folder quickly. Amps, IGNOX. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna move this here. Okay, so here we go. Okay, run dev. I'm hoping it restarts that engine. Okay, there we go. There we go. So I'm hoping this is so the one before was the one I was running before resetting I don't know, production, I don't know what you might call it. But here we have a player, and I'm not even going to add anything yet, but I'm going to add a rule. When letter is held down, D, then I want you to move on the y-axis 1, and then new rule. Let me just add more. When the player is held down, A, is it A? A, add action, move player, -1, -1, negative. Oh, I can't. Okay, for some reason it didn't allow me to type -1, but okay. So let's see if this works. So I can see it moving a little bit, but it still jumps from the center to the corner there. And I do have to wonder why. And what happens if I say if a key is pressed, D, oops, A. Okay, so it looks like A is not gonna, okay. So a key is pressed is fine now. When a key is pressed, D. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Let's try something else for now. Okay, I'm gonna delete this rule. When A is clicked, I'm gonna delete that rule. A is clicked, then print hello. Let's just do that for now. Excuse me. I wonder where it's gonna print the hello. Oh, it prints it at the bottom here. Okay, fine, fair enough. So as you guys can probably tell, there's a lot that I don't really understand here. But that's the thing, that's the whole thing. I want this to be as simple and straightforward for when people that know less than me, they can have an easier time making and creating things, and maybe start to understand certain deeper logical logical. They can start to understand certain deeper sides or details of what do you call this, of development in general, right? Of creativity. So I wonder what happens if I go this way and I enter cube and I enter camera. Okay. Okay. Like, what's going on? I'm thinking the camera wasn't looking at the block. Nope. I have no idea how to be able. Again, another thing here. I have no idea what's going on. No. So I can. I wonder. I mean, learn more. Okay, well that's understandable. It takes me to electrons. Okay, so we have complications, right? We have complications at the moment. And I think now, towards the end of this, what I will do is I'm going to create a new thing over here so that I'm not burdened by the tokens and the context window. Yeah, I'll keep it at extra. What am I going to say? I want to say, give me a tutorial on how to create a character that moves left and right. I might be curious about like gravity and stuff. I mean, it's been a while since I used Click Team Fusion, so I can't even remember how that works. But I might wonder if I might maybe the reason why it's not working out because I don't know, I haven't set the scene, right? So there's lighting here, there's a 3D world. Let's go back to flat game. Notice when something touches it. I might want like something that sets the scene, right? Like the gravity that creates the constraints and stuff of the world, is what I am wondering about here. But let's see what it says. Okay, so what I normally do is I create the base, the structure, the knowledge, the what do you call this? Every I create the complex things, the complex logic for most of my things on Claude, and then the smaller things I do on Gemini. And that's what I'm gonna do here. Right. In fact, under normal circumstances, I would have done most of this stuff that I'm doing now on Gemini. Right. But I'm already here, so I'm just gonna continue doing this and see if it gives me some instructions on how I can go about making the first basic game of a character moving left and right into this space. And it might do something more complicated, give me something more complex, but we'll see. I am running out of time. I have 3 minutes left. What I might actually do while it's doing that, I'm going to create a new project. Ooh, thank you for opening on the side here. Projects, visual widget. No, that's the wrong place. Programming development, IGNOX. Did I open this somewhere? Silly me. Select. There we go. So I have IGNOX over here. Right, and I'm going to say, tell me how to create my first basic game with coins. Coins. Okay, so I want to first go through the process of trying to create something through the tutorials on how it thinks it works at the moment. And then when I get that feedback, it will let me know how to improve it, right? So at the moment, I don't even know how I might go about starting to make an improvement. But let's see. Oh my goodness. Start a flat game, new project, add the player, add drag it to roughly the middle bottom of the stage, or type the number details 5 6. Okay, so we're going to follow the rules. We're going to follow the tutorial, and then we want it 576 400. 576 400. Okay, that doesn't really drag it roughly to the middle bottom of the stage, type the number details. I don't know, man. Look, let's just it's fine. Hold the right arrow. Note, hold the right arrow to walk right. Go to the rules tab and click new rule. When a key is held down, key right arrow. Okay. Rule. I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna create a new rule. A key is held down. A key is held down. Key is held down. Right arrow. What's this one over here? I kind of have to move my shoulder because I'm trying to remind myself which direction is right. Then nudge player X Oh, add then nudge player x by 5, y by 0. Okay. Add rule 2, nudge player x by -5. Okay. Did I, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I made a mistake. Add action, nudge player. Instead of nudge player, I was clicking move player. So I guess move is maybe just like take it from here to there. But let's see, negative. See, this the you see this is the thing. I can't put negative. I can't negative. I can't type -5. -5. And then when I click on run, again, I didn't finish the tutorial, but so it does work. Okay. I tried clicking up and down, it's not working. And if I delete this one rule, will I only be able to move player one way? Yep. Okay, interesting. So that's working. Okay. So press F5 or hit run. Did it open the code? This is the real. Two things to point at. Your note became the commenter. Hold the right arm is sitting and does the pitch. So these are things that I will read because I want to understand this much. Because that will help me understand what changes and stuff I'm making. But it says one caveat worth knowing as the engine's author, the pellet calls player a character that can bump into things. But nudge lowers to player position, which teleports a character body to straight through geometry. No moves, no collision. What actually works is the synthetic sensor child firing and over. So bump into things currently means notice things, not is stopped by them. Fine for catch the star, a student building a platformer will hit it, related to the limit already in the roadmap. The finish point file is working. If you want but say the word and I'll drop an example. Okay, cool. So that'll be it for today actually. I think I mean I don't think I'm going to be able to stop myself, but I should. I think I'll continue with this tomorrow just so that I have enough time for all my other projects and stuff that I want to get into. But I think I'm happy with the output at the moment. I'm going to be making a lot of changes to this, but I am happy the game works. Right? I told him to move left, he moves left. I wonder if there's jump, nudge, show hide, spin, resize player, anything wait, print player, hide, I'll be curious. Nudge player. I want to be. You see, another thing I just noticed now is that I guess it's because this is selected, right? So if something else was selected, if I add this here, right, and give it a height of 500, right? Here's our player, 500. If I click on this, this is what I'm thinking about. When I click on player, I only want to see the rules that apply to player. When I click on colored box, I don't want to see it. I don't wanna see it. I don't wanna see it. Because these are not the rules that apply to you, colored box. Oh yeah, I haven't added the back option. But yeah, because then this can happen. 17 things can be done. 10 things can happen. 17 things can be done. Okay. I don't that seems kind of cool. I think the first adjustment that I'm going to make is that when I click on a player, I only want to see the rules for that player. When I click on a colored box, I only want to see the rules of the colored box. And yeah. Um okay, wait, let's see. when player there are not many options here for when, and then not player is touched. When X touches X, then so at the moment it's only providing me with two fields, but I want it to be a little bit more complex than that. I want it to be when X, so that's you can do X is a placeholder, right? So when X does X, so another thing, then X. So action, no. It's when object does action to object, then X. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do for now. I noticed I only have when and then. I want to have essentially four fields that determine behavior when X, when object does action to object, then outcome or action. All right. And I want users to be able to string these as long. Okay, I'll worry about. I want people to be able to string them. So when X does A to this and then this and then this and then this, I want it to be like I want people to be able to make it like a long string of actions. But when object does action to object, then outcome or action. Right. So this is the best way I can explain this. I notice I only have when and then in my rules. So I can only edit two values, it seems. But I want to have essentially four fields that determine behavior that I can mess around with to get results. Right? So when object does action, so when object thing character does action something, then object okay, when object does action to object, then outcome. When then outcome or action. That's 4 and sometimes 3 and no, just 2. I hope this makes sense. All right, so sometimes I am a little bit lazy when it comes to explaining things, and I suffer for it sometimes, but sometimes I gain from it as well, because what happens is it gives me it does some other things that I would not have thought about. I was like, oh, this is maybe a different direction, but I prefer this direction. But now let's improve on it, and then I put my mind to it. But I'm hoping this helps me. Um, yeah. Again, this is 40 minutes. This is way longer than I said it was to be. It was supposed to be. But wait, hold on. Maybe I'm being a bit daft here. But when A does B, then B. Okay, I think I might have underestimated this a little bit because it is essentially just three fields. But I guess that'll be it for now. Just give me a second. So essentially, I think I'll end it here for now. Um, I'll show you guys what this outcome is next time. And maybe I might do some of these things and then like when I come back, I might explain it a bit more, kind of like similar to what I did right at the beginning with how I got to this point. But it depends on what people prefer. At this point, I don't have any audience, so I might as well just do whatever I want. But yeah, that'll be it for today. Thank you.